Hey everyone, Cynics here, and it is November 1st, so throw those pumpkins into the street because it's time for International Self-Portrait Day. This is, of course, a holiday where you get to draw yourself, paint yourself, do whatever you're comfortable with, but make a self-portrait. I have personally been celebrating this holiday for many, many years, and in fact, on YouTube, this happens to be the 10th video in a row that I've done on Self-Portrait Day. So, hooray, we made it to 10. We're really getting up there in videos. But regardless of all of that, for this year's Self-Portrait Day, I normally try to do something a little bit different than I do the year before, or at the very least try to capture some relevant things that have been happening in my life throughout the past year. So, with that in mind, first off about the style of things, I realized very quickly that I've done a very realistic looking portrait for the last 3 years especially. So before that I did the 10 style challenge and that was a lot of fun, but I thought it would be great to go back and at least experiment around in trying to make a more cartoony stylized version of myself. For this whole page I just opened up Corel Painter and you can see I'm just trying any weird stylistic interpretation of my face that comes to mind. It starts out a little bit rough. I'll be honest, on the first one, I was like, oh, can I do a stylized thing? And on the second one, I'm like, maybe this is a bad idea. And then when I got to the third one, you know what? Okay, I just gotta warm up into it and keep trying to find a style that really resonates with me. And honestly, those third, fourth, and fifth ones, I really enjoy. Obviously, I did a couple different ones after that were representing this crazy more movement or dynamic facial stuff and whatnot. And I'll come back to that in a moment because after doing those, I was like, you know what? I should at least do a regular self-portrait as well. So the one over here on the right is just very much trying to be mostly just realistic. But I guess my line work and the way I go about things is a little bit stylized by default. But for all purposes, that is my realistic attempt at drawing my face, which I've become pretty familiar with, and that's what doing years and years of self-portraits will do for you. It'll just make it a lot easier every time. So what I started thinking about was like, how can I make these fun as an art piece? Because I can obviously do a cartoony thing, but I need some kind of context or a greater idea for the piece. So it was at that time I was like, well, what if I do this realistic one, and then I have that as a backdrop somehow, maybe like floating in space, and then I'll have like a little cartoony version of myself zooming around or flying or I don't know, doing something like that, and that will be the thing that I focus on. But it definitely felt like I was losing the likeness a little bit, so I'm not strong enough of a stylized cartoony artist to really get away with keeping good likenesses while still having a recognizable character. So you know, I'll come back around to that. But I did try a couple more attempts at just a straightforward face. Well, straightforward. They're all at 3/4. I just like 3/4 more. But as straightforward in terms of facial features. A very boring facial feature face. And I definitely like those. I'm kind of highlighting in my mind which things I like. And then I'm going to try to turn these all somehow into something. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be, I think, taking this sketch of the more realistic version of my face and then using that as a bit of a backdrop. So it'll just kind of be something to go in the background. And I'm not even 100% sure at this point what it will be, but it all kind of starts coming together the more I process things and the more I just make progress on it. You may also notice that I'm using a slightly different brush technique for this one. I don't know why, but I've kind of just been having a lot of fun using a basic round brush. So instead of my fancy dry brush, this one's just gonna be done mostly entirely with a simple round brush. So you can see how quickly I went about rendering that. It's very straightforward, and that's because I was once again thinking of putting this in the background. And well, how am I going to do that? Well, I thought about just having it being standing up vertical like it was, but then again, for the sake of YouTube, this is a video format that favors the widescreen. So I thought, well, what if I just turn it on its side and then I can just make it into some weird background element. So I added this little blurring effect on the bottom to make it look like there's going to be water, like a swampy setting. I don't know, some kind of like deep, dark cave with sprouts and swampy stuff and just all kinds of good stuff. I want it to be very overgrown. Now, I do like to tie my self-portraits, like I said, into something relating to the year. So 2021, for the most part, has been, I don't know, strange, but I've been doing daily Twitch streams. So there's been a lot of hanging out and doing little Twitch streams every single night. And yeah, I don't even promote it much because it's mostly just for casual, fun little art practice. And I'm not really trying to make a big thing out of it. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed having that throughout the year. Now, one thing that has arisen from those Twitch streams is the little sprout that I usually put on my head. I don't remember why I started doing it. I honestly just like sprouts and greenery and moss and plants and stuff of that sort. So I thought it would be fun to then bring some of that in as a little tribute to all the Twitch stuff into this painting. So you can see I'm just kind of overloading it with tons of little sprouts. Maybe those are representing everyone, who knows? Just sprouting up everywhere and going for this very, just masses of plant life and everything. So let's move on to our little foreground character. I took one of the sketches from earlier of the face and actually combined a couple of the features from maybe 2 or 3 different ones. And then I just added a quick body off camera for this. I wasn't really sure if I would add it off camera, but I just kind of liked the quick sketch I did. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to like fake it and redo it just for the camera. So I'm just going to leave it and move on. I'm not really the type to like to do things twice. But regardless of that, you can see I blocked it out and I'm just testing out where I can put this in the composition. Now, there is a very unfortunate thing happening, and that is that the eye of the face in the background is always going to be a bit of a focal point. Nonetheless, it should be pretty fun looking, and I'll probably just push the background a lot further back. So yeah, I have the character here with this little stylus weapon that he's holding, oversized stylus. I'm not really that small. And then I added a foreground element for him to stand on, and I thought, what would be right to have in here? I was originally going to do like a rock, but then I thought, wait, I could just have a hand here. So that's what I'm going with. I'll just have the hand there, and then I can just drop our character in on top of it. It's fine if it doesn't line up perfectly. I can just sink in some shadows beneath it, and hopefully it's close enough that people won't mind if the ground's a little off balance compared to the feet and everything. For the character itself, I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to render it at all or just leave it as like a simple cell shaded thing. I think when I considered making it more cell shaded, I just realized that, because it's not really my strong suit, I feel like it would just look like an awkward, attempt to copy other people's versions of things. So instead, I'll just paint it like I would normally paint anything. Slowly building up a little bit of values and forms, and eventually trying to take out the line work as much as possible. And for these ones, since I'm being a little bit quick and speedy, I'm just going to set the opacity of the line layer down really low, like 10% or something, and then just paint into it. And that should work out pretty well. So yeah, I also want to add that like this commentary, it's not going to be as refined or educational or polished as a regular video because I gotta rush this out. It is Halloween right now. Spoilers, behind the scenes, it is 3 hours until self-portrait day. I gotta do these the day before, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to put them out in the morning and remind people that it's self-portrait day. So yeah, a lot of my standard rendering techniques went into this little body, this little cartoon form, and hopefully it just doesn't look like a cheap mimicking of like Jazz's character or something. I put on the little chroma core shirt on myself because obviously that was a big part of this year as well. I got my giant stylus. That's actually the stylus from my cute little Line Friends XP pen. I'm still using the same tablet that I started using last year. And yeah, at this point, it's pretty much finished. So I'm going to sink the layers down. I'm really going to blur out and darken the background even more. Hopefully it doesn't really accumulate much focal interest. And then I can just add some little bits of sparkly rays from above and maybe a little bit of rim light, some extra little effects. And I'll be honest, a big inspiration for the visuals of this piece, now that I look at it, I realized are coming from me playing through Hollow Knight, because I've just been playing through Hollow Knight in my spare time lately, and I realized how much it's affecting the look of what I'm painting here. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It's certainly a bit weird for a self-portrait day piece because I got like a little character in there. But it started out, you got the portrait in the background, you got the character in the front. I think it checks out. I don't know. Does this count as a self-portrait? I'd say yes. Of course, I'd say yes, but that's fine. Anyway, I should wrap this up. So you guys have a lot to do today because you guys all have to make self-portraits. I don't care. I don't care if it's not self-portrait day anymore. I don't care. Do a self-portrait anyway. Let's all do self-portraits at least once a year. Make sure you put your all into it. Really try to make a good one each year, you know, not even just a quick sketch. Normally, I'm just like, yeah, just do a sketch if you don't have any time. But no, this year, I'm going to say it. Do a finished painting, do an actual piece of art that is your self-portrait, and then you can really look back on each year and you'll be happy you did. But anyway, I'll let you get going. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned something, even though I wasn't very educational. And of course, I have to give a huge, giant thank you to all of the Patreon supporters that really help make these videos possible. So thank you to all of those people. Thank you to all of you for watching. Go do a self-portrait and have a great day.